Looks like we're going to go ahead and get started. This is being recorded in case we have anyone that shows up late, and I'll do my best to monitor chat as we go through my library tips today and leveling up your library game. But let me just get started by introducing myself. My name is Jenn Stayton, and I'm the Student Engagement Librarian here at University of North Texas Libraries. Can everyone hear me okay, see me okay? Do I need to adjust anything for anybody before we get started here?
We're good. I can hear you.
All right. And everyone's familiar with raising their hands and using all the participant features and all that stuff that they may want to do while we go through it? Okay, thanks. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and take y'all through some slides, but basically today I'm going to go through just a few tips that I have for leveling up your library game and using so many of the new resources that we have access to in the library right now, thanks in part to the transition to online learning. It's been really interesting being in the library and seeing so many things just become accessible and become free in the past couple of days. So let's get started. I'm going to talk first about using some focus search options to really dig into some more of the advanced features and really help discover resources right now. As I mentioned, lots of things have been getting just kind of turned on, so not everything's fully cataloged. We may not even be aware of some of the things that we have access to right now. So it's really more important than ever for researchers to be discovering new search strategies and to be looking at some really focused ways that they can be improving their search independently, as well as seeking out the services that we definitely still have at the library. Next, I'm going to talk about subject searching and how powerful subject terms can be for discovering new resources, especially whenever you're doing a direct database search. And then bonus round, I'm going to go over a few of my new favorite resources that we've been discovering in the library as we help students with their research needs and help faculty discover online resources that they may need as well. Just going to minimize this. All right, so for focus searching, really the best tip and advice that I can give you is to be strategic about it. Search in those places that you're most likely to find that information. So very basically, that could be if you're looking for articles, to do an article search instead of doing a search everything search. But in kind of a more in-depth way, one way that we can go about being strategic in our searching is by thinking about not only the type of resource we need, but also the context that we hope to find it in. Is there a certain discipline that we're searching within? Is there anything that we can do, whether that's combine a term or think of synonyms for that term, that are going to give us multiple strategies just in case we don't find what we're looking for the first time that we go fishing for that resource, so to speak. We have 591 databases, I believe, right now. So, sorry, let me go back there. So using a database direct search, like searching for an ebook in an ebook database, searching for an article in an article or journal database, and of course, searching for things like reference materials in a specific database, like the Grove Online Art Dictionary, or even ones that may be for our streaming videos and things like that. By going to the database first, you're going to be able to see kind of what we call the scope of that database and be able to see the full range of resources that we're hoping you're going to be able to utilize once you get there. I always, always recommend using those advanced search options, looking for them in any database that you're in any search interface that you're in. And this is in Google as well as in your academic searching. Really always look for those advanced search features, because there's always something in what they're offering in those advanced search features that are going to give you clues to what's going to be the best strategy to find this stuff. And also usually that's going to give you some idea again of that scope of what am I likely to find in this resource. Catalog direct searching is really best for a lot of the searching that we find ourselves doing, especially in research when we're following those breadcrumbs back and maybe we're looking up a citation that our professor's given us, or maybe we're just trying to look up the reference that a really great article mentioned or quoted. Anytime I'm looking for a journal by title, I normally first try the catalog. Now, again, right now, some things the catalog says that we don't have access to, we actually do have access to. But by and large, the catalog's still a really good place to start that direct search. And many times you're going to find it's easier to start with the publication title rather than the article title when you're doing that particular kind of strategy with your research. So these are a few links that I want to take us through right now. The first one is the link to our guides. And I do have these slides. I will make these slides available for anybody that wants them. And I do also have a more accessible PDF version of this that contains these links as well that I'm happy to give you if you want to follow up. But I will also show you just how to get to these links from the main website as well. So this guides directory is going to take you through every course guide that we have, every subject guide that we have, and even point you to guides like our citation and style guide or our literature review guide that actually help you do some of that that writing work and that organizational work when it comes to actually using the stuff that you find in the library. This research page here has just listed every kind of direct search link that you could ever want. So I do want to point that out to you. And then this link as well is one that I always have bookmarked. This is the same search that you get whenever you're doing the online article search from the Big Blue search box. So let me just go ahead and go out here to this research page to show you what I mean by some of that direct searching. But let me click back over to the home page here because I just want to show you where this lives. So that online article search, again, you're basically going to get the same thing that you're getting here in our Big Blue search box. And then if I click over to the research tab, then I have all of these very direct searches that I can really kind of explore things like just our music collection, things like a title and author search at the same time. Again, I have that online articles link, and then I also have the link to our databases. For my course materials, for textbooks and things like that, I have a direct link to the course reserves that my professor may have put on online reserve for my course. Same thing with audio reserves there. So there's just a lot of different types of searches that you can do, and this is just a handy kind of quick list for most of the things that not only you do find over in our Big Blue search box, but then also the things that you would find if you actually clicked into, say, our database list. So you have a lot of those kind of direct links to something like our A to Z database search. So this is kind of that direct database searching that I was talking about. It's a very effective search strategy, especially if you know that most of your databases live in a certain place. So we can search pretty easily for, say, Web of Science. We can search pretty easily for Library and Information Science abstracts or Library and Information Science source, which is where a lot of the resources for my research live. And then also, ones like ProQuest Political Science. The database list is really cool too, because not only can you search, do like a keyword search or a subject search for databases, you can also go by type. So again, if I know that I'm looking for ebooks, it's helpful to know which databases ebooks might live in. Now, I can also use the catalog itself to search for ebooks. So again, if I go to this research tab or the home page, that big blue search box, I've got the books and more tab here where I also have advanced search options. But I'm always looking for those advanced search options so that I can do things like go in and limit that material to just ebooks. All right, I'm going to pause for just a moment and make sure, do we have any questions, or is everybody good so far? Okay. All right, so moving on, my next level for library searching is going beyond that keyword search. So keyword searches are great. They've definitely helped us develop better subject terms. Using keywords is really powerful, just to be able to discover resources quickly and to be able to combine those terms, like I said. But whenever we're doing just a keyword search, and this is something like anytime you just see that search box and you plug in a term, that's what I'm talking about, a keyword search. Whenever we do those kind of keyword searches, oftentimes we're getting those results ranked by the frequency that term occurs within the record and the material itself. Now, most good databases, most academic databases that you find in the library do have algorithms that are helping bump things that may have those subject terms or may have those things in the abstract rather than the body of the text. There is still quite a bit of filtering and ranking. The databases do try to help us as much as they can. But with a keyword search, I mean, we're basically casting a wide net as to where that keyword may be located and how that keyword may be related to the resource itself. So some problems you may have is that it doesn't always catch homographs, and it doesn't always catch things that may have applications in multiple disciplines or in multiple contexts. So whenever you look at something like the terminology around business or project management, well, a lot of those terms can apply to project management in a variety of settings, or apply to a variety of processes within different types of businesses. So it can be challenging whenever you're just using keywords to do some of that filtering and sorting. And so much of that has to happen after you do the search itself. So while that's all fine and good, and while that's one definitely way of discovering resources, that's one strategy you can use, that's not the only strategy that you can use. Those advanced features can be very helpful, again, with combining and or. And beyond that, we have the subject term searches themselves. So subject term searches rank results within a focused group of resources. So what we mean whenever we're talking about subject searching is we're really talking about those things that are metadata, those things that other people have determined this resource is about. This book is about this. Um, beyond the framework, beyond maybe the characters, beyond maybe the setting, the overall arching theme may be about this. In a very particular way, this book may be about this time in literary history. This article may be about this field of research that isn't expressly mentioned anywhere in this stuff a keyword might usually search. So when we think about the way that language develops over time and our research develops over time, what subject searching can really do is connect things by using terms that you may have never even thought of, because it has this hierarchical structure that's built into broad subject terms, what we call subject headings, and narrower subject terms, what sometimes we call tags or metadata. So what makes that so important is that these other people that determine this metadata are often the authors themselves, are often the publishers, the editors, the experts, and then, dare I say it, the librarians. So, and really what that can do is add a whole nother layer to your search, because just like whenever we're looking at peer-reviewed research, we're looking at that peer panel of experts to kind of share with us, this is why this is important, this is why this is trustworthy. You know, we get that from our subject searches as well. We get that from our subject terms. We get that kind of expert layer, that secondary filter that adds that meaning and context and can really make our searching more powerful. It can be tricky to find the right subject term because, again, these things aren't always described as we might think they should be described. But once you do, it can really be a powerful way to discover new things. So I'm going to jump over again to the library website and just do a quick online article search for my favorite subject, information literacy. So again, I'm just doing a really broad term here. But what I want to draw your attention to in the subject or in the results here are these things that are being identified as subject terms. So again, you know, I didn't do a database direct search, so I've got a lot of filtering to do. I've got a lot of playing around with terms and stuff that I have to do now to narrow things down because I didn't do it from the onset. But I want to draw your attention to this narrowing and filtering option that we have in just the online article search for the subject terms. Because what I can really do here is browse through other keywords that might be able to add some context. Here again, I see information literacy as a subject term has only 5,000 results, whereas my keyword search has over 200,000 results. So if I select this as a subject term and apply it, I've automatically drastically narrowed my search to those things that are probably going to be more relevant than what was in that initial keyword search. So just very briefly, I wanted to demonstrate like how powerful subject term searching can be. And anytime you're doing kind of just a broad keyword search like this, think about at least investigating those subject terms. See what things that have your keyword in it are being described as about. Maybe you'll find that keyword as your subject term, or maybe you'll find that there's really a better term that you could be using to be doing that search to begin with. Okay. Everybody's still doing well out there? We'll go on to the next slide here. Well, I appear to be missing a slide. One second. Okay, yeah, I'm not sure why this wasn't appearing in the slide view, but it's time to go on to the bonus round. So one of the things that I really wanted to speak to you all about today is, as I mentioned, since you know, there's many resources that the library normally has that may be difficult to access right now, or, you know, really honestly may be inaccessible right now. What we found is that library publishers, library databases, library partners have really stepped up to fill in some of the gaps for that access that we've seen in our collections. So some of the most exciting materials are those being provided by Red Shelf and Vital Source. At least for a limited period, most textbooks and course materials are being provided by a variety of publishers through Vital Source. For things like Vital Source and Red Shelf, there is this kind of added step where you register your account. But then after you get through that, you do actually have ebook access to what you may have had physical access to in the library's course reserves. In addition to that, I did also want to mention that, here in the Continuity of Library Services Guide, many of your course materials have now been scanned. And so I do encourage you to look again to see if your course has an online course reserve. As it mentions here, you can search by course code or your instructor's name, and look for those textbooks that say electronic copy, because there's a very good chance, especially those chapters and things that you may need in these last final weeks, and also the things that you are probably going to need in the summer, you'll be able to find through the online course reserves there. The other one that I wanted to mention, because, oh, this is a big one, is the HathiTrust Extended Access. So UNT already had access to this database, but what they have done is basically they have paired with sorry, let me get into it here. They have paired with what is in our OCLC catalog, and they have extended our access to what it says we have on our shelves. So that's just huge. I mean, it is really, if you are looking for something and it says that it is in remote storage, or it says that it is in Eagle Commons Library, or maybe it is at Willis Library, it's on the 3rd floor, but you're just unable to make it to the physical library during our limited hours. I highly recommend going to this resource and searching, as I did, for the University of North Texas, because what it's going to do is it's going to give you digital access to those things that we would normally have on our shelf. With most of these things, we do anticipate that this is going to be temporary access, but hey, while it's there, you know, by all means, like, definitely take advantage of the access that you have to that extended library of online books. Same thing with the Science Direct books. This is one that I've just found so many resources that have been helpful for students and for other people. Now, this is just the list, but since we do have Science Direct, what I have found very helpful about this list is that I can search here for the ebooks that they have made available temporarily, and then I have a title that I can then go back and search Science Direct for, and it makes it a lot easier to discover those books that I only have temporary access to. And again, many of those are really great resources. So there are just a ton of databases and things like that being shared at this time. So if you want more research tips, really the best thing that I can do, I couldn't possibly show you everything that there is, and really until we know what you need, it's hard to help discover which of these resources is going to be the best for your research needs. But definitely if you have research questions, and if you just want to know more about those things that are available in your particular research or discipline, research area or discipline, then do follow up with us and ask us. So Ask Us is the one-stop library service for all of your library questions. What we can do in Ask Us is we can point you to those resources, but we can also point you to your subject librarian. I am your subject librarian as well, so you are free to follow up with me directly. But you do also have the direct link to the list of subject librarians where you may have, as in addition to me, a subject librarian that is just for your discipline as well. One of the new things that we've done in the library that I'm really excited about is we do have chat available now. So we do have chat services, and you can also reach the Ask Us service this way. 7 days a week, at least for the rest of the semester, it's going to be 11 to 8, and we're going to be operating similar hours 7 days a week throughout the summer as well. Many of these resources that we have temporary access to, I do want to mention, are also featured here on this Continuity of Library Services Guide. Funny name, but it's the guide that really tells you what the library is doing right now, what we may have limited access to right now, and we do have research resources here that list some of those very handy guides and other materials that I've gone over today. Okay. So is there anything else that you would like for me to show you, or do you have any questions about what we've gone over so far? And I do apologize, I go through it too fast always the first time.
This is Dr. Dubin. How are you tonight?
Hi, nice to see you.
Okay, so I have a question, and it's how would students who are doing major historical work best access what they're little familiar with these days, and that would be microfilm, microfiche, and so on. What would your advice be to those students?
So microfiche and microfilm is one of those things that right now during this time when so many libraries are closed or have very limited access to their collections. For instance, most of the microfilm that is stored at UNT is actually at our remote storage facility. So since we don't have regular couriers going between locations, the best way that you can get access to many of the materials that are on microfilm or microfiche collections is actually to request it through interlibrary loan. So if you make a copy request through interlibrary loan, what we'll do is we'll scan that microfilm either from our collection or from another collection, or we'll try to find maybe somewhere that has digital access to that. I'd like to share my screen one more time just to show you the Digital Public Library of America, because in addition to the microfiche and microfilm collections, I found that the DPLA really has a lot of those historical resources, that and Chronicling America. Between those two, whether you're searching for historical newspapers or just historical primary resources, much of what I usually find in microfilm, I'm also able to find in those. So I'm just going to share real quick so I can show you those two things. All right. So again, that first one was the Digital Public Library of America. And And what this is, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Portal to Texas History, but the Digital Public Library basically takes all of those digital collections from museums and libraries from across the United States, as it says here, and has kind of made a hub for them. So the DPLA doesn't have all of this stuff in it, but what it does is it maps you to those collections. So that you can really find many of the same things that you would be able to find in the Portal to Texas here as well. So if I just do like a search for Republic of Texas, I can limit this to, you know, again, those subject headings, so helpful. I can limit it to letters, communication artifacts, news stories, documenting artifacts. I can also limit it by collections, by year. It's just a really powerful way to get access to a lot of those historical resources that are otherwise kind of difficult to find right now. And then the other one is, oh, pops right up, looked at it before, Chronicling America. This is from the Library of Congress, but wow, so many historical newspapers here. And again, much of this has been digitized from those microfilm collections across libraries across the United States. So this is just a really great project that the Library of Congress has been doing for the past couple of years.
Well, thank you so much for that information. It was wonderful.
Thanks. Yeah, every library is different, Krista. Krista says every library system seems different, and that is so relatable. I mean, you really do have to figure out what does your library have and what can your library get for you. So we're definitely more limited on what we can ask for from other libraries, but you know, our library has millions of online resources, and whenever you compile that with all of the open access resources that we have, again, you know, even though we're limited, we are still somewhat limitless when it comes to getting those research resources when we need them.
Yes, indeed. Thank you again for that.
All right, any other questions? Be very patient for Zoom.
Hi, Jen. It's Rachel here. How are you?
Hi, Rachel. Good to see you.
Good to see you. I have a quick question. So with regards to your limited hours that you have, is the, and maybe I just didn't catch this amongst all the information, but is the chat service available at an extended period as opposed to when you guys are up and running?
Sure. So, and of course, you know, like everybody else, we're kind of going on a day-by-day basis here and just trying to make the best plan at all times for the safety of everyone. So the current status of the library is the only library that is open on campus is Willis Library. Willis Library is open 10 to 4, and none of our service points are open. So you can self-check out materials, you can use printing and scanning, but it's all very do-it-yourself at the library right now. And so that's from 10 to 4, Monday through Friday. We do anticipate having limited hours throughout the summer, but what further complicates it for those of you that were library regulars is you probably know about our construction project. So that construction project was already going to interrupt building access quite significantly, and with the added complexity of the current situation, people will probably be working from home for the foreseeable future. The first floor of the library is set to shut down next week, May 4th. So whenever they start shutting down the first floor of the library, there will basically be just like a tunnel that gets you to the elevators and a tunnel that gets you to the stairs to get to the other floors of the building. So we anticipate ongoing limited access to the building itself. With chat though, even though the library building's not open on the weekends, chat's open on the weekends. So you still have the Ask Us form. So if you just Google UNT Library Ask Us, that'll take you to a page where you have like kind of a long form. If you want to send us screenshots or links or any of that stuff, you certainly can. But if you just need a quick answer, chat's there 11 to 8, 7 days a week.
Okay, great, thank you.
One other thing I do just want to share with everybody, because this is another thing that the library is currently offering that they haven't offered before, and we hope to expand as the need expands. So we know it's really difficult for a lot of people that are suddenly studying online and haven't had to necessarily do everything online. So the library does have extended checkouts for laptops right now. If you check out a laptop even right now, you've got it through the Maymester, you've got it through June 1st, and they do anticipate that they'll be doing another extended checkout for laptops for the summer term as well. Also, we have started getting some hotspots. So if you or anybody you know is really having difficulty because they have low internet at home or don't have access to the internet at home, please again get in touch with Ask Us so that we can connect you to our library technology folks, and they can address your needs that may be a barrier to your school or your research right now. Okay, well, thanks so much for taking the time to be with me today. I'm going to do one last call for questions and give y'all just another minute to ask those kind of last minute things that you may have. So I'll hang out here as long as you need to, but again, just thanks for spending that time with me today, and be sure to follow up with me or with Ask Us if you have any questions.
Well, thank you again.
Thanks, Dr. Duran.
Thank you, Jen, so much for taking the time to host this webinar, and I will have it uploaded probably by tomorrow so you can share it.
Oh, awesome. And I just want to give a shout out to my team of Crackerjack GSA graduate student library students are going to be hosting a students only Fun Before Finals brunch on Saturday, May 2nd. So I'd love to share that link with y'all and invite you all to join them for trivia and other just fun stuff they're going to be doing to kind of relax before finals week really gets underway.
Great, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks again, everyone, and have a really good evening.
Thank you. You too.